Hello guys, Prophecy here. In this video we are doing a character value ranking, and honestly I thought that because we have YUAN recently came out as a new unit, we have a lot of characters on the roster and some people might be confused on priority, which character to get, which character to not get, and what are some of the must pulls, future proof characters, and I'm gonna go over all of that in this video. So make sure to like and subscribe for more informative videos like this. I hope you find this useful, so let's go into it. So for my rankings, I'm gonna divide this in 6 categories. First one is must pull, and honestly there's no such unit in this game that is necessarily must pull for you to actually play, but must pull in terms of you pull this character, you're guaranteed to get efficient progress. And when I say efficient progress, I mean you're gonna get a mile progress, and it's gonna be good long term if you pick that specific unit. So that is my definition of future proof. It is something that will extremely progress your account. That's the level of the unit that will be in a must pull category. Future proof unit will be a unit who cannot actually get power creeped because its kit is so good that basically there's not really many stuff Kuro can do besides completely ruining the balance of the game to actually power creep those kind of units. And that is why they're future proof. They're not necessarily must pull, but in terms of the value, what they provide, and there are few characters that actually fall into this category, those characters will be future proof because what they do, it's actually hard to even outmatch what they do. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be doing my honest opinion on all of these characters. I played every single one of these characters, some more than others, and I saw value firsthand for most of these units, like almost to the maximum potential. And so I know every 4-star, every 5-star as well, like every 4-star in this tier list will be ranked as well, because I wanna rank every single unit in a game. We're gonna ignore CHIXIA, Bullying and Scarred because those are not even in the game yet. So yeah, next one's gonna be high value. These are going to be units that are very good like teammates, that are very good for clearing content and stuff. They're very useful, not really must pull or future proof, but they're very good right now that you can pick up and easily just clear or whatever. That's basically what I'm trying to come out here. And so yeah, units that will actually help you progress, not as much as these must pulls, but again, high value is going to be someone who will definitely have a lot of teams, more than some average units. Good value is going to be a section when I'm gonna put units who have value. Maybe some that are like fallen behind, but as well some units that can still perform good but not really a must pull, so not really something you should prioritize. So yeah, this end is going to be units who are still like okay for the like side towers on Tower of Adversity, but are not really as good as the time goes on. Skip is going to be units who you absolutely need to skip in terms of investment and leveling up. So yeah, you need to save those resources. Do not pull for these units, you will break your account. So yeah, first things first, first unit I'm gonna mention, yeah, I'm gonna just choose one here, Rover, because it doesn't really make sense. Rover, in my opinion, is one of the future proof characters, but I will place him not really as a pull value, because most of these units you cannot really pull for them. So half of these units is just, it's not really a pull value. This is more of like a unit value itself, like every single character and their value. And so Rover, his value is, I would say, high value. Rover is at the moment very high value unit that you need to build. Why I say so? Because if you level this guy up to 90, you can only get more bang for your buck in the future, because every single chapter in 1.0 we got another element was Havoc. In 2.0 chapter, which is right now, we got Arrow Rover. 3.0 chapter we most likely will get some of the other elements, and so he'll get better as time goes on. And yeah, he's in one of the meta teams, which is like with ZANI and PHEOBE and some other teams. He also in a CHIXIA team, which is probably the most powerful DPS in the entire game. So yeah, definitely a higher value unit and good to build, especially if you're a new player. So yeah, honestly, Rover, from my experience, he's always good, he's always been good, and he can never be low value as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's gonna be my ranking for him. Next one's gonna be CHIXIA, and CHIXIA in my opinion is decent. For side towers, she's definitely clearing. Potentially, if you really master her, if you decide to main her for some reason, she is going to clear middle tower. But again, she's not a DPS as some other units, like not even close. But again, her DPS is enough to clear side towers and take care of that, so you can use your stronger teams for middle tower. So yeah, that's basically about CHIXIA, nothing crazy there. Next one is YANGYANG. YANGYANG I will put to decent as well, because she's almost skip, but I would say she's more decent because her buffing is very nice. She's rotating fast, she can group, she can give more energy to incoming unit. Now that is not really too much to current standards. We are soon in 2026. This is not really that good right now, and so I would say YANGYANG is not really that useful anymore. But again, her use case is overall generically okay, but there are way better units in the game that you can use. If you need grouping, she's okay. She can buff attack, she can deal okay damage for a 4-star, but again, she's not really too much. She's decent, nothing more than that. On to the next one is going to be BAIZHI, and BAIZHI is between decent and good value. I would say top of the decent, because she's almost good value. The reason why is because we got 2 more floors on the middle tower, and because we did, her value went up. So she can amplify entire team by 15% damage amplification, and that's pretty much it. She's a 4-star, she can rotate pretty fast if you learn her rotation. Pretty good 4-star, but again, she's not really a priority. Do not go invest in her heavily. She's very low investment unit, because her outro is basically what you need. And besides that, maybe her ult and resin skill for healing is more than enough, so she doesn't even require that much investment at all. So that's why she is a decent value. Honestly, she can be used for side towers teams if you really need support for them, and so your middle tower can have better supports, more stronger buffers. And so yeah, you can save your better units for middle tower thanks to BAIZHI. So next unit is going to be SANHUA, and this one is, I would say, future proof. And the reason why I'm saying this, because every single new character and new DPS that is coming out in the future is, logically enough, will be stronger than previous ones. And I'm 100% sure that when you pull those new characters, especially if they do basic attack damage, SANHUA will be amazing support for them of the release, and you'll easily clear the tower of the release. So someone like SANHUA is a future proof. She already has multiple teams that she's good at as a budget free to play friendly options. She's basically a free unit that you get in the first 5 days, and honestly, so far she's the fastest rotating unit in entire game. She gives 20% attack buff. She gives outro skill with 38% amplification for basic attack damage, for incoming resonator for 14 seconds, and yeah, she's easy to build. She doesn't require any crazy level up. You can level her up and build her more like long term, like down the line, but she's not necessarily required to like heavily invest for her to work. She can literally be level 1 and still provide a lot of value like she does when she's leveled up. So she's not really resource requiring like other characters. So yeah, she's definitely future proof. She'll be slotted on any basic attack damage dealer team. Easy, amazing unit. She's not a must pull, I would say. she's not really a high damage, high meta unit, but she's definitely future proof in terms of value. Her value is future proof because she's so fast that honestly no new units can actually compare to her speed of rotation. There's no other unit in a game that actually compares to this speed. She gets in, she gets her rotation done in like 4 or 5 seconds at max. Bam bam, thank you ma'am, she out. And your main DPS is buffed, you're doing a lot of damage, especially if it's basic attack damage dealer. Crazy work. Yeah, probably the best 4-star in a game. So yeah, on to the next is YUANWU. Yeah, you know how I say this is the best 4-star in a game? Yeah, YUANWU unfortunately most likely is the worst 4-star in a game. Solely for fact that he is supposed to provide vibration strength reduction, which is basically 1 inch higher than any other unit in a game. And basically because he doesn't really do enough damage, his vibration strength reduction is not really that good. That's basically the stagnate bar. Once you deplete entire bar from the boss, it's staggered for a certain amount of period of time, and honestly it's not worth picking him. He doesn't do any damage, he scales of defense, and that's something that no other character is scaling off. So building him essentially means you're building a set for him that you cannot use on other units. So yeah, if he doesn't do enough damage, he's not even worth using. He's used on someone like JINHSI teams, but honestly even JINHSI can play with MORTEFI and VERINA and do way better than ever playing this guy. So yeah, I would say if you have S6 MORTEFI, play MORTEFI. Ignore this guy. This guy is not really good investment. Actually, he's the worst investment in the game, because every other character in the game, when it comes to 4 stars, at least they have a good outro buff, where he doesn't have anything basically. So yeah, next character is going to be TAOQI, and this TAOQI is probably at the bottom of decent. She only buffs 1 strong DPS in a game. Everything else is just every other unit is better on every other team. She's too slow for a 4-star. Yeah, they're like YANGYANG, which was like free. She was faster, way faster than TAOQI, which you need to get by pulling on banners. So yeah, TAOQI gives you shield, gives you some healing, but it's so clunky to use. She rotates too fast. Her abilities, her entire rotation gives you half of concerto energy, which is, and full concerto energy is required so you can trigger the outro skill, which is resonance skill amplification by 38%. But that is, unfortunately, if you're not already using a powerful resonance skill DPS on your team, they can actually, with their damage amplified by that much, make up for the time you wasted on her rotation. If you cannot make up on that lost time, her value is here. So yeah, she's basically here because yeah, she can still work, but as soon as we get some other 4-star that can like buff resonance skill damage, yeah, depending on what bullying will do, she's a 4-star confirmed. This character might be trash. It might be completely benched because day 1 she had no use case. With CHANGLI release also, CHANGLI works better in double DPS than in hyper carry, so this character is not even good for anyone. Then we got someone like CARLOTTA. CARLOTTA had good use case because CARLOTTA's rotation is amazing, consistent, so yeah, sure, why not? But again, TAOQI, big skip, I would say, unless you have a CARLOTTA, which we'll mention later. Do not ever build this character, you will regret all the resources. So next one is going to be DANJIN, and this one I would like to say decent, but I would say good value overall. DANJIN does a lot of damage. She can solo even middle tower if you build her at the maximum potential. If you learn her, you can also do a lot of damage. You can play her in hyper carry with the MORTEFI, with other heavy attack damage buffers. She's also having outro skill that buffs entire havoc damage of incoming red resonator, amplifying it by 23%. And so someone like ROVER, Havoc ROVER, can easily use her outro to actually, you know, perform amazing and so her value is good still. She's also a very good alternative for one of the top tier meta teams, which is like Havoc. So Frolova, Cantarella and Danjin is amazing team. So Frolova can easily buff her damage, easy. She's still good value because of that top tier team. Not really a high value, but definitely a good value still. So yeah, pretty good in my opinion. So yeah, the other character I'm gonna mention is AALTO. This one's going to skip. Yeah, YUANWU is the worst one, but AALTO, honestly, AALTO in my opinion is completely honest. This unit can literally get deleted from the game, and nobody will care. The reason why, because his outro buff amplifies 23% arrow damage. And the reason why this is bad, because all the actual DPSs that you have in the game that can actually use this outro buff, they have way better budget options. Like SANHUA, who is for free, MORTEFI, who's I'm going to talk about soon. And those two DPSs that can use AALTO, but they're way better free options, are CHIXIA, who does basic attack damage. She amplifies 38, he amplifies 23 amplification, and for JIYAN he deals heavy attack damage. So MORTEFI, who I will mention soon, buffs more. So this guy, on the best units that he can buff, they're basically already a good free options, and so AALTO is big skip. Ignore this unit, don't waste resources. He's a big ignore, skip, do not pull him. Do not invest into him, it's big waste of your resources. Next one is MORTEFI, and this one is, in my opinion, right besides SANHUA. At this rate, we're seeing MORTEFI being on the same level as SANHUA. Big value, future proof. These two 4-stars are actually broken. He rotates also very fast, but SANHUA is way faster, while MORTEFI does more damage while being slightly slower than SANHUA. But again, he rotates pretty fast. He's easy to even swap between, like swap back to actually feel his forte faster, so you can detonate that little dragon, so he can get more concerto energy, so he can swap out faster. He's very good. He can hold static mist, which is the 5-star standard that can buff incoming resonator by 20% attack, up to 20% attack. He also gives with his S6 20% attack boost to entire team, same like SANHUA, and his outro skill is amplify incoming resonator by 38% heavy attack damage, amplification for 14 seconds. So that's amazing for any heavy attack damage dealer. SANHUA is amazing for any basic attack damage dealer. And so yeah, basically any basic attack damage dealer and heavy attack damage dealer in a game is just eating good. Like, these two units make any of those damage dealers actually more valuable than they would be otherwise. So yeah, definitely MORTEFI is a must build. I would say SANHUA as well, very future proof value so far. I don't really see how they can actually go down in value as time goes on, because unless Wuthering Waves devs like Kuro Games, they make future units unable to synergize with their outro, which will be kind of weird. But yeah, they're amazing value. Definitely invest into them, you will not regret. Next one is ENCORE. Her value is, I would say, decent. And the reason why I say decent and not actually, she's a good value, honestly. She's not a top of the meta, but she's definitely good value for your account. She can clear side towers with ease using SANHUA, because ENCORE does basic attack damage. Like 90% of her damage is basic attack damage. And yeah, she's a 5-star standard. She works at S0. She can work even better at higher sequences. Again, she uses Rectifier, which is probably one of the best weapon classes in the game. The first one is Sword, second one is Gun, and third one is Rectifier. She can use String Master, which is generic DPS Rectifier in the game that you can pull from Yinlin's banner. and so she's amazing. She works amazing. She can clear even middle tower if you have like more fusion support, but I would say do not invest into her teams. She's already good with SANHUA and other support units on the 3rd slot, so yeah, ENCORE is still good value. She will drop at some point, but again, you can get her S6 pretty like almost for free, I would say, because yeah, it's not really free if you're pulling, but if you lose 50-50 you basically get a copy, and I mean if you hit her, and so yeah, she's good. Still, I have nothing better, nothing like bad to say about her, and so yeah. Next one is VERINA, and this one is, I don't want to say future proof, because at some point with the recent supports being so good for specific teams, VERINA is kind of falling off. She still has a good buffs for what she works. I would say high value. She's definitely a high value. I would say a must pull will be a level of unit that is like bringing a like big progression to your account. She's a high value unit. You definitely want to, she's low investment, high reward, but I don't know. I just think there is another generic buffer that is way better than her. Actually increases DPS by a lot. So yeah, she is good, but again, without S2, her rotation, her doing no damage in like 2025/2026 is kind of not really good in terms of like team's DPS. Like I think every other team that is at the meta doesn't even include her, doesn't even include the Shorekeeper, which is the other support I'm gonna mention. So yeah, VERINA is definitely kind of fell off. But again, she's a high value unit. You definitely want to invest into her and ROVER. They're like almost equal amount of value for your account, like level of value. So yeah, LINGYANG is the next one. Unfortunately, LINGYANG is a big skip. LINGYANG is a big skip. The reason why LINGYANG is a skip, it's because LINGYANG, unfortunately, from what I've seen, there's no good weapon for him. He has not gained a single buff since day one. He had no actual Sonata set that actually benefit him. His OG Glacio set, which gives him good generic like Glacio, it doesn't really provide that much value to his overall kit, because forecast requires you to use it for 3 seconds and you can get interrupted. And what it does, it gives you like 12% like damage bonus for Glacio and maybe some basic attack, but again, you need to smack 3 times, and that whole animation of 3 attacks lasts for like 3, almost 4 seconds. And for an echo in this day and age, that's kind of outdated. And so LINGYANG unfortunately doesn't really have a good Sonata set. There is like Carlotta's Sonata set, which is like fine, but again, that set buffs Resin skill, and he scales like 75 to 80% of his damage comes from basic attack damage, and Resin skill damage is not really that good portion of his damage. So buffing Resin skill by a lot is not really doing that much for him. Yeah, it's buffing slightly his damage, but basic attack damage increase will be way better for him than anything else. So, or generic Glacio damage, which for Carlotta's set is not really a good thing. Her forecast echo gives buffs just being equipped, so yeah, fine. But yeah, any echo set in a game, the best echo set that he can use is still Cope. Doesn't really fully synergizes with any echo set in a game. So LINGYANG not even having a good weapon in a game that buffs basic attack damage, yeah. Besides standard one, which is really bad and I don't recommend using it, yeah. This guy has no place in the meta because you cannot even build this guy correctly. Yeah, unfortunately LINGYANG, they done him dirty. Unfortunately this guy doesn't have a set, but then there is another standard 5-star who does have a set, and that is CALCHARO. This guy, he can be skip and he can be a good value. I'll put him at a good value, and the reason why I say good value, CALCHARO, in my opinion, I started in 1.3. I took this character, I cleared a decent amount of content and stuff. I learned him and then used him in Tower of Adversity. He was clearing. Even the current TOA, I'm still clearing the middle tower with CALCHARO. He's very good in double DPS teams. He's amazing in double DPS, very consistent actually. While in hyper carry, he can be very clunky, similar to like some other characters. There are some other characters on the roster who have similar problem in hyper carry, but again, I would say CALCHARO requires some cancelling mechanics to be learned, otherwise he's not gonna perform that well. But the reason why I say good value is not because of his damage. His damage is decent, even in today's age, but basically what makes CALCHARO, in my opinion, good value still, it's basically the fact that if you decide to play CALCHARO and learn him, you will basically become so good at the game, your fundamentals that you learn on him can be used and implemented into gameplay of any other character on the roster, and trust me, it will elevate their value way better than just not touching CALCHARO ever. So yeah, unless you wanna just bozo any content, you don't really care about some expressing some skill, you don't really care about some advanced movement tech that you can implement into your gameplay and optimize further your teams. Sure, you can skip CALCHARO, he's basically there, but his damage, he can still equip some good weapons. He has his Sonata set still makes him good. He's overall a good value, I would say, in terms of like skill value, skill level. Like your skill will get higher, you will understand the game way better, because in order to play him correctly, you need to learn dash cancel, like how to properly use dash cancel, and you need to use swap cancel. There's actually one move in his kit that uses jump cancel, so yeah, definitely if you want to learn how to be good at the game, he's the best character for the job, and you will learn how to be a very good at the game, similar to like Mormont, similar to like someone like Wallenstein. He's not really that hard to learn, but once you master the way he requires to be played, you will basically be rewarded by him by having that skill actually be future proof, because dash cancelling and swap cancelling will always be a very good way of further optimizing your DPSs that maybe start lacking some damage and stuff. You can play them as a double DPS and still get value off of them. And so CALCHARO is a very good value because of your skill. If you don't really care about skill, he's big skip. But I would say good value for anyone who wants to learn combat in this game. And honestly, this game is skill based. This game is not like press few buttons 1 2 3 and clear the game. No, your units can actually have more value long term, have longer like value on your account if you can like optimize the rotation, play them better, play them faster. And this is why CALCHARO is the best for the job. This is the hardest character in the game, but also is not impossible to learn. I can actually show you some tips in some of the future videos how to use CALCHARO. This is my main since day one of me playing this game, since 1.3. That was my day one of playing. I got him, I enjoyed him, I learned him, and then played the TOA. I like this guy. He's so good. Yeah, I like quick swapping with him. Very enjoyable guy. If you want to learn skill, if you don't care about skill, skip, ignore him, do not pull him, do not invest, because he requires skill. And if you want to get better at the game, he is the best man for the job. Next one is JIANXIN, and I would say JIANXIN is slightly above, I would say, yeah, she's better than TAOQI, but that's it. And unfortunately, once I put my what is it, MORTEFI here, yeah, basically that's it, about 4 stars. This character right here, this JIANXIN, she's a 5-star, and I would say her value to your account is garbage. There are some cope teams like with YUNO, because she does liberation damage. Yeah, JIANXIN with her outro, she buffs incoming resonator by 38% liberation damage amplification for 14 seconds. But the problem is, unless you have S2 of this character, which means you need to lose 50-50 3 times on her specifically, that's too much to ask. Well, someone like TAOQI, who has no good sequences, you can get like within 60 pulls you can get all the copies. Well, this character you need to pull potentially like 240 pulls at minimum if you want to get more copies of her. So she's very like requiring to actually work, because without S2 she basically rotates on a similar speed like TAOQI, which is very slow. And because they're like sub DPS units, you can't really say, oh, they're sub DPS units, they're not supposed to be that good. The problem is, I want fast rotation. If SANHUA, who is a 4-star, MORTEFI, who is a 4-star, and also DANJIN, who also I didn't mention before, her Chaos Cleave attack, which fills half concerto bar off on her, brother, she's rotating at speed of light, speed of light. She is a 5-star. She takes almost as long as a 4-star, which is one of the worst 4-stars in the game. So she is not a good value. If you don't have S2, don't even try building her. Her value at S2 is decent at the future liberation DPSs, but overall I will not build her if I knew she was that bad. I have her S2 still. I played her with CALCHARO, which is liberation DPS. I had almost exact same result with SANHUA, who doesn't buff CALCHARO's main damage source, compared to like S2 JIANXIN. So even S2 is like comparable to SANHUA S6. So honestly, JIANXIN unfortunately needs a buff. Otherwise, this is one of the biggest failures Kuro has ever made. Her design aesthetic is amazing, but unfortunately in this game, aesthetic doesn't actually contribute to your character's value for when it comes to performance. So yeah, JIANXIN unfortunately a big disappointment from kit design. But yeah, on to the next unit is JIYAN. I would say JIYAN, in terms of value for your account, like resources and stuff, he's a good value. He's not a high value. High value is something that's gonna bring a lot of value to your account. JIYAN, without his premium team, you need to learn this guy. And he's sig reliant. In order to be played at the highest potential, his highest potential goes up if you have other 2 5-star premium units, which is one of the newest ones, and the CIACCONA, which is also a very good unit, which I'll talk about you later. But yeah, definitely JIYAN, in my opinion, is, if you like this character, yes, pull for him, build him, good. He's still good value, but he's not really high value as he used to be. He still does a lot of AoE damage, that's good on Whimpering Waste, but again, depending on what the HP increase or defense increase or resistance increase or what kind of tokens we have, this guy will go up and down in value, and that is not good. While other units in a game, which I'll mention later again, are basically stable. They're almost at the same value, and they can only go up or they can stay at the high value where they are. So JIYAN, in my opinion, is not really a good option. He can be paired with MORTEFI because he does heavy attack damage. You have to have his signature, otherwise the damage will be worse than even Havoc ROVER, which is like free unit you get at day 1. And CALCHARO will perform better if you don't do dash cancels on his DPS rotation. So with MORTEFI, he's decent, but with the full premium units, he can be here. If you have the other 2 teammates, YUNO and CHIACCONA, on your team already, then he's high value. With his SIG, of course. So he's high value. But again, without having those prior units, I'll say like if you don't have any of these units, which of those units are high value, Jiyan is good value. Yeah, you can still play him with the Mortefi, but it will not perform nearly as much as you would like to. So, and you need to some cancels, and you need to like learn a bunch of stuff on him. And yeah, Secret Land heavily, and so yeah, he's a good value, definitely. Yeah, on the next unit I would say YINLIN. I would say top of the descent. YINLIN in my opinion is a very underrated unit. I would say high value, but there will be big cope. Good value is somewhere here. Unfortunately, YINLIN's value depends currently only on CALCHARO. CALCHARO is definitely not one of the highest DPSs. Jiyan, when played correctly, even ENCORE can out DPS CALCHARO's casual performance with like 3DM combo and those stuff. If you do 4DM combo, you can like get on like outperform ENCORE. You can get on level of Jiyan. But honestly, without YINLIN, this guy doesn't really reaches even that highest DPS. He's not really like barely there, barely comparing. But yeah, YINLIN, she elevates CALCHARO. She does some AoE damage. Her damage is actually okay, pretty good for a sub DPS unit that's supposed to not really do that much damage. She's actually right where she needs to be. She's decent, she's good. But if you don't already have YINLIN, I say big skip. If you do have YINLIN, she's good value still. She can still provide good value to your account if you already have her as a veteran player, as a like long-term player or something. But as a new player, she's decent at best. And so I'm gonna say here, CALCHARO's value, same goes for YINLIN. YINLIN is less valuable than CALCHARO because without CALCHARO, her value like goes down. And because CALCHARO and another Electro DPS that I will mention soon are both like equal amount of DPS, this character basically doesn't have a meta unit that she can buff. And that is why people say, oh, she's so bad, oh, she's not really good pool value. I would say she currently is held back by the fact there's actually no Electro Liberation DPS in a game that is like new, that can actually do a lot of damage and actually fully benefit from YINLIN. So YINLIN, in my opinion, is still good value because she does coordinated attacks. She buffs liberation damage amplification by 25%, 14 seconds for incoming resonator. So those buffs like coordinated attacks, outro buff is still good, still valuable for teams like JINHSI, for teams like maybe even CHANGLI, if you want to buff her ult. If you want to play a hyper carry CALCHARO, yeah, sure, but again, CALCHARO is better played as a double DPS, so yeah, she's in a tough spot. I would say to be more realistic, I'm a little bit more biased because I like the character, I see the potential there, but unfortunately, there is no, all the units that she can actually be best in those teams, those units are kind of outdated, and the DPS like is not really as good as it used to be. It's same DPS as before, but there are other characters doing better. So yeah, unfortunately YINLIN is currently at the top of the descent. She can easily go good value, but at the top of the descent, still very decent character. But yeah, overall her value can go up with, you know, with the better units that she can buff. Next one is going to be JINHSI, and in my opinion, JINHSI is, I would say high value, but she doesn't really need other units' outro skill to actually do a lot of damage. Unlike Jiyan. Jiyan needs specific Mortefi, while JINHSI can even use your level 1 YUANWU. You put his totem, his coordinated attacks alongside the VERINA will buff JINHSI because her forte depends on that. More stacks you have, more damage your like ultimate shot will do, and so that dragon depends on your forte stacks. So yeah, that's the only thing that she has. She's a resin skill DPS. She's very good for DPS. Even now she blows up the content, and in the future she can get, she doesn't really have best in slot yet, Some of the best in slots are like coordinated attacks that are also buffing resonance skill damage by 25%, but it's like not even that good. We have 50% amplification on other units that are like newer ones, and so she needs a better unit. But she's still good value nonetheless. She can still easily clear holograms, Tower of Adversity, but in Whimpering Waste, this is where she struggles. Jiyan in these terms actually has better teammates, so I think Jiyan is actually in the better spot here. He has actually potential to go higher with the current roster, where she with current roster she can do only so much. She clears 2 out of 3 endgame content. Jiyan can clear all 3 of them. He can easily get into holograms and easily do enough damage. Whimpering Waste, he dominates over JINHSI, and in Tower of Adversity he can still do amazing score even with MORTEFI. So next one is gonna be CHANGLI. In my opinion, CHANGLI, unfortunately, with the recent release of Galbrena, which is the newest fusion DPS, unfortunately she went from good value to top of the decent. She's basically YINLIN situation. Actually worse, because her outro buff lasts for 10 seconds, where every other outro buff lasts for 14 seconds. So YINLIN is better buffer, has more value going forward, where CHANGLI is just, yeah, there are only so many units she can buff. She's a main DPS that deals a lot of resonance skill damage, but also a good nuke with Liberation. But unfortunately, her hypercarry team is very clunky because she's more optimal when played quick swap, similar to like CALCHARO situation. I will actually go for CALCHARO over CHANGLI because I will have to potentially pull 160 times to get her, where CALCHARO does same amount of damage as CHANGLI, maybe even more, while he's a standard 5-star unit, and again easier to quick swap, and this character has some learning curve. And she's part of the meta fusion DPS, but the recent character that is more like open for teams is way more damaging and does way more damage than this character. Has way more teams, and so this character can only be in double DPS, but honestly CALCHARO will do better in those double DPS comps than CHANGLI in my opinion. So yeah, unfortunately, CHANGLI, I have S3 CHANGLI. Honestly, I don't really see any more improvement. My CALCHARO still seems better in terms of damage than CHANGLI. So, unfortunately, she fell off hard. And unless you have S6, yeah, and that is a big concern. So yeah, CHANGLI unfortunately fell off hard. For account value, she's not a good investment. You will break your account. She doesn't do enough damage. If you don't have other fusion units who are like must have if you have her, yeah, you cannot even pull her, otherwise you will completely break your account and you will be mile steps away from actually progressing your account meaningfully. You will struggle a lot. If you really want to get this kind of character, you need skill. And again, if you want the skill express, pick CALCHARO is better, because actually you're now wasting your limited pools, because this guy can randomly come out when you lose 50-50. So yeah, and most of you most likely have CALCHARO. So yeah, if you don't have CHANGLI, do not pull her. She's a skip, but again, her value can still be decent nonetheless. Next one is going to be Zhang Liao. Zhang Liao, in my opinion, is CALCHARO, but like slightly above. He's easier to play. He can play double DPS, but again, his value went down. He's more limited on his DPS. He cannot really do more than he already can. CALCHARO basically can outperform him by doing his advanced 4DM combo at the beginning. So yeah, in my opinion, this guy is not really worth pulling. But again, if you have him, he still has a good value. He can still clear content, no problem. So yeah, but yeah, he can be played double DPS. He's very optimal, very consistent. But CALCHARO, just if you're a skilled player, you'll prefer CALCHARO over this guy, because he can potentially get more damage than this guy who is a limited, and this guy is a standard. Another character, ZHEZHI. Her value at the moment is high value, because she can buff any resonance skill DPS in the game. She can buff also their energy, so their ult can be like, the uptime on their ult is higher. She can also launch coordinated attacks, which someone like JINHSI can also take advantage of, and so she's a perfect partner for someone like JINHSI. So her value goes up. She also has other teammates that she can use, and with one of the soon DPSs that I'm gonna mention, she's very good in Withering Waves. So I would say her value overall is high value. Next one is YOUHU. YOUHU, I would say bottom of the decent, not skip, but bottom of the decent. YOUHU, I would say keep her level 1. She's not worth investing. In terms of value for your account, I would say skip. But her value in the future can be tremendously good. Her auto skill amplifies incoming resonators coordinated attack damage by 100%. That's amazing. In the future, if we get all-in coordinated attack DPS that like stays on field, does launches coordinated attacks, and everything is considered coordinated attack damage, then her outro buff will be very strong for that team as a free-to-play option. So I'll be honest, in the future she can become broken. Right now she's a big ignore. You ignore her, do not invest. She cannot really buff anything. She can buff Yinlin's coordinated attacks, but again, Yinlin doesn't really have good teams that she can actually be better than anyone else. So yeah, unfortunately YOUHU currently doesn't really have a spot in the meta. Another 4-star that I forgot to mention is LUMI. LUMI is basically similar to TAOQI in terms of actually not really. Her damage is higher. She buffs resin skill damage as well as TAOQI, but unfortunately her buff lasts for 10 seconds and not for 14 seconds like TAOQI. She gives a 20% attack increase to entire team with her S6, but unfortunately that is not good enough to actually invest into her. But again, if they buff her, she will definitely be somewhere there. But yeah, she's a decent damage dealing unit, but again, her buffing is like, yeah, it's not really in my opinion that valuable. Next one is Shorekeeper. This one is a must pull. This is a must have, because this character is probably one of the highest value in the game. She's out for like more than a year. She's still a top tier unit without the question. Amazing unit, definitely a must pull. She will increase your progress tremendously. So next unit is Camellia. She's currently high value. Camellia is currently high value, I would say, because Camellia can actually bullzo any content. She's a full-on basic attack damage dealer. She can use SANHUA, which is a free unit. She uses sword, which is amazing, because the best weapon class in the game is a sword, because standard 5-star sword gives critical rate, and that is amazing for DPS. Her DPS actually can outperform some other 2.0 DPSs if you do double intro rotation, which is pretty easy to do. You just intro from this character to this character, and before your concerto is filled, you quickly swap to this character, and then use her outro skill, intro to this character, and continue her like big rotation. So yeah, but again, I can teach you this in one of the future videos, no problem. So next thing I want to mention is ROCCIA. Unfortunately, ROCCIA is dead. She's a dead unit. She doesn't have any unfortunately she doesn't have any value. I would say even YANGYANG has more teams than ROCCIA right now. Yeah, you can cope, play her with the Havoc Rover. Her grouping is good, but her damage is worse than Yinlin, I would say. Her rotation is slower than Yinlin, and her buffing doesn't really help any other team, especially because SANHUA exists and rotates so fast. It's almost a non-existent difference between these two. Like, she rotates longer, does a bit more damage, but again, that field temp that she's using, SANHUA is giving to your main DPS. So unfortunately, SANHUA is better than ROCCIA, who is like 5-star premium. And yeah, ROCCIA is just a big skip, I would say, in terms of like value for your account. She's decent, but oh my gosh, actually no, big skip. Same for Loom. Yeah, I'm not gonna cope. I'm not trying. Yeah, this is a value tier list. What am I doing? Yeah, she's decent. Yeah, she's decent. Yeah, fine. These are like weak characters, but yeah, these are like big skip. Lumi, unless she gets buffed to increase her duration of her buff, do not build her. ROCCIA, same thing. If you don't have her, big skip, run away. And so yeah. Next thing I want to mention is Carlotta. Carlotta is basically similar to like Camellia. Carlotta has a standard 5-star pistol, which gives critical rate, so that's amazing. She does resonance skill damage. ZHEZHI is her best in slot. These two ladies are basically two rotating any content in game. She can even play it in Whimpering Waste a little bit, but Camellia is better in Whimpering Waste because she has solo mode, solo single target mode in her kit, and AoE target mode. So Camellia, I would say, is a bit more consistent and better, but in terms of like damage and rotation, the most consistent character in the game is Carlotta, and her damage is still good. She can 2-rotate. She fell off a little bit, but again, because Camellia is still amazing, these characters are basically equal, I would say. With double intro rotation, she's actually competing with this team. So yeah, I would say Carlotta and Camellia are still very valuable units. Getting them is basically budget. She can be used with TAOQI, she can still pull up a lot of damage, but again, you want ZHEZHI with her. So if you have ZHEZHI, definitely a good value. If you have her, definitely pull ZHEZHI, good value. And so yeah. But overall, next thing I want to mention is Phoebe. In my opinion, Phoebe is she's almost a future proof. But I would say she's among the highest value in the game. The reason why is because Phoebe can amplify any Spectral Frazzle DPS, and so far, for now, in the game, Phoebe's value is very high. She does a lot of basic attack damage. She only needs a Spectral Rover, which is a free character of the start of the game, and any other support, Verina or Shorekeeper, and she performs amazing in Tower of Adversity, in holograms, and middle tower, like clearing everything that is not Spectral resistant. She's amazing. She's a rectified user, so if you have String Master, she's chilling, but amazing. I will say amazing design of a unit. Self-buffing, incredibly broken. I would say amazing high value for your account. Next one is BRANT. In terms of resource, how much resource requiring, I would say he's somewhere here if you want a damage dealer, but if you want hybrid, that is very good. I would say this guy, yeah, if I actually ignore his investment and just say Sig reliant, he is... So basically here's the thing, BRANT in my opinion is... Oh my, this is kind of hard because yeah, he's somewhere here. These characters are more a budget to build, easier to build, but this guy is nightmare to build. Unless you have his Sig, he's not really worth it, but if you have him with Sig, he brings way more value to your team, to your account long term, because he shields, he heals, he does good damage. He can do some double anchor rotation, which is amazing. In my opinion, he uses Sanhua if you want to use him as a DPS. He's a very good sub DPS, double DPS in my opinion, because sub DPS is not really what I will put him in. He's a good DPS, and alongside Carlotta, he can amazingly, like, I will say elevate Carlotta's team, because ZHEZHI doesn't really do nearly as much damage as BRANT. So yeah, I would say something like Sanhua, BRANT, Carlotta can be fun team to use because he heals and shields the entire team. He buffs 25% resonance skill damage to incoming resonator and 20% fusion damage. But again, he's a fusion character. He's good value, but I would say there's some better fusion characters on the roster that have way more value than him. But again, he's a very high value at the moment if you can build him. If not, you can easily skip him. He's not really a must pull, but again, very high value if fully built, amazing for all the content. Next one is not ROVER, because ROVER is already on the list. Cantarella. I would say Cantarella before was a good value because of JINHSI, but because of the other character that was released in like few patches ago, her value went, I would say, is it future proof? She went to very high value, I would say, very high value, and so she's between future proof and high value, honestly. The reason why, because the unit that she can buff at the moment, her best team is actually one of the best teams in the entire game. In Whimpering Waste, she is supporting the best team in the game, which is Havoc team with Frolova. Frolova is the best unit in the entire game. She's the most broken ever. So yeah, Cantarella, if you have Frolova, she's basically future proof because of that, but honestly, high value, she can buff any resin skill DPS. She does coordinated attacks, so a lot more than any other user for coordinated attacks. So JINHSI and Carlotta can benefit from her, as well as your Rover DPS and some other resin skill damage dealers that we get in the future. But again, if you have Frolova, she's a high value character, the highest value you can possibly pull, and it will elevate Frolova even further, even though Frolova is the best character in the game. Next thing is ZANI. In my opinion, unless you have Phoebe, ZANI is a big skip right here. She's not like, she's like decent value wise. She does a lot of damage. If this is like DPS tier list, she'll be like must pull, I would say, in terms of DPS alone. But if I just talk about like account value, she's here. I would say, actually not be that harsh. I would say if CHANGLI is here, she does a lot of damage. But in order to do a lot of damage with ZANI, you need to have Phoebe. Otherwise, you need to use Spectral Rover. That honestly, you're better off pulling Phoebe, Spectral Rover, and then you do way more damage. She uses Gauntlet as well, so ZANI is not really good when it comes to weapon class. You need her Sig, and so yeah. Her team is very expensive, her weapon is very expensive because you need her Sig, otherwise you're coping with some standard 5-star that you will not use on any other character ever again. But yeah, basically ZANI is not really good value, almost here, but I would say if you have Phoebe, her value is here, decent. Yeah, she can elevate that team even more, but yeah, I think there are way better units you can pull. I will actually go ahead and pull JINHSI over ZANI any day of the week. Actually, I will pull more copies of JINHSI than even pull for ZANI, because JINHSI has very strong free-to-play teams. Or this chick, she almost has no other team besides Phoebe. So yeah, next thing is going to be CHIACCONA, and this is where we enter actual divine territory. This character is future proof. The reason why is because she buffs a lot of arrow damage for entire team, decreases enemies arrow resistance by 10% with her weapon. She has one of the best Sonata sets in the game for arrow teams. She's an amazing arrow unit, and in my opinion, for team buffing and how fast she rotates, she's actual definition of future proof. The amount of buffs she gives is insane for arrow team. So yeah, in my opinion, this character is almost a must pull, but I won't say, unless you're building arrow team, she's not really a must pull. But if you want to build a strong arrow team, she's a must pull. If not, this is her current value, and most likely going forward it will still be her value. The more arrow DPSs we get, her value only goes up. So honestly, CHIACCONA is one of the best character investment you can make in the entire game. With her Sig, she shreds because she can buff. She can buff any arrow team, and in this game so far, honestly, unless they completely wants to destroy the balance of the game, there's no power creeping this character anytime soon. For next like 2-3 years, this character is future proof. Next character is Katetia, and this one is must pull level. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video, must pull category is not necessarily unit you need to play the game. It's a unit you get, and you're 100% guaranteed that your account will greatly progress, extremely far progress if you get those units. CHIXIA does both AoE, she does single target damage. WIWA, TOA and holograms are all like checked. She's amazing on all of them. She does the most DPS in the entire game. There's only one unit in the game that can actually go very close on her DPS, but even that unit with her best in slot is now even close. Her best in slot actually is CHIACCONA. So because CHIACCONA is future proof, pulling this character essentially forces you to pull one of the best characters in the game, which is CHIACCONA. So honestly, these two units are amazing value right now. Currently must pull, yeah, I can't say anything else. Pull CHIXIA, even with SANHUA on the team, and she does a lot of basic attack damage. Yeah, she has SANHUA already if you pull her, and when you get the CHIACCONA, you have best in team currently in the game. She's amazing. Next thing is Lupa, and honestly, brother, what else should I say? Lupa, this one is not even who's better, like they're equal. Lupa and CHIACCONA are equal. CHIACCONA is the best unit for arrow, and Lupa is the best unit for fusion. The reason why, because Lupa gives entire team, like she gives outro buff, which amplifies fusion damage 20% and 25% basic attack damage amplification. But that's actually not really the big thing about her kit. Her team-wide buffs for fusion teams is actually what matters. If you have 3 units on your fusion team, basically what happens is that your entire team of fusion units is ignoring 15% fusion damage resistance on any enemy. That is like overworld bosses and like calamity bosses and those. That's basically holograms and Tower of Adversity, which is where you need most of those buffs anyway. So her damage increases are amazing. That's first, like 15% fusion damage resistance ignore. That's first. Second one is 18% more attack for entire fusion team, which is even better, more scaling. Third one is 20% more fusion damage bonus, just for free. And the third one is her best in slot Sonata set, which after she activates her liberation, which is her main source of damage and buffs, she also increases entire team's fusion damage by 15%. So she has a lot of buffs for unit, and she does a good amount of damage for a support for entire team, similar to CHIACCONA, which is why I think those two units, even though they're like taking slightly more fill time than Shorekeeper, they're actually future proof, because unlike Shorekeeper, they still provide some damage to the team, and they're way more automated than, you know, Shorekeeper. Shorekeeper needs to be a little bit more like dash and like speed up her rotation by herself. These characters are basically auto like programmed. You do their rotation every single time the same way. You'll almost 100% of the time you're done with rotation fast, and boom, buffs are there. So these units with their buffs, I don't think they can ever get outdated. These units are future proof. Big value, definitely go for it if you want fusion team, Lupa, if you want arrow team, CHIACCONA. Next thing is another character in the game right now that is a big must pull, and it is the #1 unit you should always pull, and it's Frolova. This Frolova chick, she's just completely busted. She just increases her critical damage by a long shot every single rotation. Yeah, she just gets over 400% critical damage just by her own kit over time. In Whimpering Waste, she's the #1 undisputed champion. In Tower of Adversity, she does a lot of damage with any Havoc team, any DPS in a game. She with JIYAN is actually doing amazingly strong. She does a lot of off-field damage that cannot be interrupted. She also does a lot of nukes, which is amazing. And with her best in slot team, she does almost exact amount of damage like CHIXIA. And honestly, Frolova can be slotted on pretty much every single team in the game. And so Frolova, in my opinion, is the best unit in the game, solely for her off-field damage works without specific units. It can get better with some more specific units, but it doesn't really require specific units to even work. So, and with someone like Cantarella, someone like, who knows, BRANT, someone like ZHEZHI, right? You can make some combination. Even Havoc Rover is good with her team. You can make her work very good, even at a low investment. Her signature is good. You can also use String Master and still perform amazingly strong. So yeah, the best character in the game. If you get her, your account goes skyrocket in progress. So next character I'm gonna mention is YUNO. Currently, I think YUNO is a high value. I think CIACCONA is way better than YUNO, because YUNO buffs heavy attack damage, which is good, but in my opinion that is not enough, because her other buffing is not really that good unless you're using a shielding unit on a team. So yeah, she gives 40% amplification if you stack 10 shields. There's only one unit that can do this in a game right now besides her, but again, she as a DPS is like worse than JIYAN. So I would say JIYAN is way better as a DPS, but she's high value because she's a very good damaging sub DPS. Does way more damage than someone like ZHEZHI, so definitely good one. And so very good outro skill with 50% amplification for heavy attacks. Amazing, but again. Next thing is Augusta. Augusta is the one that benefits the most from YUNO, and Augusta at the moment, right after CARLOTTA, is a must pull, in my opinion, at the moment, right? The must pull, there is one caveat: must pull over time can change. At the moment, these are the must pulls. Someone like Augusta basically is a must pull because she can work with MORTEFI and still do a lot of damage. Her MORTEFI and VERINA is already broken team. Her MORTEFI Shorekeeper is already clearing everything, and her with YUNO is just overkill. So honestly, she does have a lot of damage at the moment, and at a low investment on a crit, she still performs amazing. She can use JIYAN's weapon if you have JIYAN and his SIG, and she performs amazing in TOA. Holograms, she basically cheats, she stops time, and yeah, she's just unfair. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. Overall, there's nothing too much to say. She's a very strong DPS, similar to CARLOTTA. CARLOTTA is a bit better, but again, more free-to-play options than CARLOTTA. So next thing I want to mention is Galbrena. This is my currently favorite character and currently a must pull. The reason why it's a must pull because Galbrena is a character that currently is in a game as one of the best DPSs that can rival one of these. I think Galbrena, when played at advanced rotation, when you play her correctly, depending on who you have as a support, she does not really way more damage, but a bit more damage than Augusta, and almost rivals the CARLOTTA, which is amazing because CARLOTTA is the best DPS in game. So Galbrena is very good, but her higher damage ceiling, I won't say skill reliant, but is more like it has a little bit of skill curve, a learning curve that you need to do in order for you to actually excel her damage. You need to like loop certain attack chains in her enhanced state in order to like do more of one type of damage than other. She does both heavy attack damage, which is good for MORTEFI as a buffer, and she does echo skill damage, which there's no other buffer in the game that can buff that besides the newest units that I'm gonna mention soon. And so her value at the moment is very good if you play her correctly, even with MORTEFI. She does probably the same, if not even better than Augusta. She basically has big freedom even in quick swaps and everything else. She's very flexible, more flexible than CARLOTTA and Augusta. And so I would say, in my opinion, even though she uses a pistol, CARLOTTA uses a sword, Augusta uses a broadblade. And so because of pistol standard being good at Galbrena is amazing. So yeah, in my opinion, Galbrena is a very good must pull at the moment. Maybe in the future that will change. But then we have another unit, the last unit of this video, and it's going to be Chuyan. This guy is in my opinion, he's between future proof and high value. I think he's the highest value among all of these. He's the highest value. The reason why I say this is because Chuyan currently has the most buffing for like top tier DPSs. But again, his value is high because of three things. His outro amplifies incoming resonator echo skill damage by 50% for 14 seconds. 50% amplification for main damage type of Galbrena. If you loop echo skill damage attacks, you can easily go all the way here with damage. She's the best DPS in the game if you can loop her echo skill damaging attacks with Chuyan on team, because Chuyan's forte also gives 30% extra damage bonus for echo skill on entire team, so she gets an even more damage bonus for echo skill damage. And then his ultimate also increases entire team's critical damage by 30%. So yeah, even more final damage amplification. Yeah, she can benefit from this, and that critical damage buff can go to any DPS in the game. But again, besides Galbrena and Frolova, if you don't have Frolova or Galbrena, Chuyan's value is somewhere here. He's on worse than CALCHARO value, but because his buffing is decent, but his damage is not like that good to like make up for, like, it's better to have some like MORTEFI or SANHUA rotating way faster. Because of them, his value is like here for now. But if you have Frolova or Galbrena, they become way stronger than Cartetia when played right on Galbrena, and Frolova becomes like demonic DPS. And so he goes like the highest value on this tier. So yeah, this is going to be my tier list. CHIXIA is not in the game right now, so is Bullying, Scar and ROVER, so I'm not gonna rank them. But yeah, this is basically my tier list. These are my honest opinions on these units, my honest thought. I'm not trying to be biased, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I think these units are the best. I think these 4 units are definitely the best units to build. Definitely you cannot make a mistake by investing into any of these units. These units at the moment are like fast progression for your account, easy peasy clear for anything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe and comment down below what you would change in this tier list if you would. If not, let me know what you think about this tier list, and see you next time. Peace.